guys, it's Charlotte. Happy November. Welcome back to the vlog. Today's video, we're doing my November reset vlog, and you guys, I feel like I've said this before, but I have never been more excited to do a reset vlog and reset for a new month. I feel like I really need it this month. October wiped me out. There was so much happening, like especially at the end. We had Halloween weekend. We also had a football game. So there was just a lot happening in like the very last few days of October. And I feel like some of my routines kind of like fell by the wayside, and I haven't been doing like all of my daily habits as much. So I'm really excited to do this reset vlog, get back on track for a brand new month. If you guys are new here, hello and welcome. I'm so glad you clicked on this video. My name is Charlotte. I'm a college and productivity lifestyle vlogger here on YouTube, and I'm also in my senior year of college here at the University of Michigan. And y'all, everyone always says that your senior year goes by so fast, and I never believed them, and they were absolutely 100% right. Like, this year's been going by so fast. I can't believe it's already November. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna get into this reset vlog. So what I normally do, I clean up my room a little bit. I work in my bullet journal where we do some goal setting. We set up a planner for the new month, a content tracker, all of that kind of stuff. We're also gonna talk about my books that I read in October and the books that I wanna read in November. You guys have been loving that segment recently, so we are going to be getting into books very shortly. And then I also wanna try a new segment. We're gonna talk a little bit about finances and budgeting this month, which I've never talked about before. So I'm actually really excited to add that into the reset vlog. We're gonna kick this vlog off with a cleaning montage. We're gonna clean up my bedroom because it's a disaster. We're also gonna clean up my bathroom because that's also a disaster.
어릴 때 원했던 어른이 됐나 Thought I found oh she's mine 놓칠까 달렸던 나 Let's just take it slowly 늦은 어떤 때 같은 곳을 바라보고 있잖아
Okay, the room is all clean. I feel so much better, you guys. I absolutely hate having a messy room. It just like really stresses me out, especially this time. Like, it was really messy. There was stuff all over the place, so I feel so much better already. Like, literally, I feel great. Now it's time to move on to the like goals portion. We're going to go over my October goals and then go over the goals that I'm setting for November. I usually just type these out on the screen, but I realized that's a huge waste of time because I can just screen record my Notion and put that up here because I have them all listed in my Notion anyway. So we're gonna do that this time. We're just gonna show you my phone screen, and that is gonna save me a lot of time in editing. So you guys can see, I'll put it on screen right next to me, but you can see we've got the daily habits that I have set for myself. These are not really like goals, they're just like habits that I'm trying to build. And then below that we have my October goals that we set in my October reset vlog from last month. So for daily habits, I actually track these in my bullet journal, and we're going to go over them and see how well I did. So in my bullet journal right here, I have this little habit tracker page, and it's going to tell us how we did on all of our goals. For making my bed, I did this 15 days in October, which was 48% of the time. All right, my next daily habit was to post on my Instagram story. I did this 26 times in October, which was about 86% of the time. Next, we have close my exercise ring. I did this 26 times as well, so that's also 86%. That's probably as good as it's gonna get. I feel like shooting for 100% on these is sort of like a little bit unattainable, especially when it comes to like doing a minimum amount of exercise every single day of a month. Like, that feels like a lot. Next, we have drink a full water bottle. This is the only one that I feel like is attainable to set my goal at 100%. This window and I are fighting. I love the sun, love it, but not when it's shining directly in my face when I'm trying to film a video. Where were we? Oh, drink a full bottle of water. This one I did every single day, which I'm really proud of. I've been working really hard to drink more water because it's so important to drink water, and I'm usually really bad at it, but this month I was good at it. One thing I didn't do great at was working in my bullet journal or my Notion every day. This I only did 11 out of 31 days. I probably did it more, but these were like the days that I was really sure. Like if I was unsure if I did it or not, I just said no. So that was only about 35% of the time. And then reading, I did 14 out of 31 days, which was about 45%, which again, I probably did more. I just like couldn't remember exactly. There are some days where I go in and I just like forget to fill in my bullet journal, hence why my bullet journal habit was so low. So I probably did more like reading. I read a lot this month. We'll get into my book segment in just a few minutes, but this is like not the most accurate way to track things probably, but it's what we have. So I feel like the three that I did really well at obviously were the higher numbers. So posting on my Instagram, closing my exercise ring, and drinking my water. And to me, that means that those are actually becoming more of like a habit that I don't really like think about during my daily life. I just like do it, which is what I'm trying to do with these goals. So that's like kind of exciting. The other three are the ones that I need to work on: making my bed, working my bullet journal, and reading every night. So those are the three that I'm really going to focus on for November. They're all staying the same. The daily habits I don't change from month to month. Those stay the same to see like how my progress tracks over the entire year. So we'll check in with these again at the end of the month in my December reset vlog to see how we're doing with the daily habits. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with how they went in October. I think I did an okay job. Next, we're moving on to my personal goals for October. Like I mentioned earlier, these are the ones that I set in my October reset vlog from earlier this month, or I guess technically it was last month. We had 5 goals for October, and we're gonna go through them quickly the same way we did with the daily habits. First goal was to deep clean my apartment once a week, and I was really good about this in the beginning of the month and then really fell off at the end of the month. So I did about like 50% of this goal. I think what happened, and I'll get into this in a second, but I think what happened was I started 2 new classes at the like midpoint of the month, and that kind of threw off my schedule. My next goal was less than 6 hours of screen time a day, and we failed miserably at that one again. Let's check my screen time. So far this week, it's 7.5 hours a day. That's pretty much all from Sunday. The week before was 10 hours a day, then 8 hours a day, 8 hours. So I'd say that I averaged 8 hours a day in October, which is not great, but it's honestly less than it was in September. So progress. Next goal was to work out 3 times a week, and I didn't quite get to 3 times a week, but I did exercise, like go to the gym and do a workout kind of exercise twice a week for October, which was a really big deal for me because I don't typically do that. I would do Mondays and Wednesdays. I would go work out, do a little Pilates class in the gym. Even though I didn't do it 3 times a week, I did also close my exercise ring nearly every single day. This is my exercise ring like chart from October. I closed it 26 out of 31 days, so I was getting exercise nearly every single day. So you know what? I'm gonna call this a win. Next, we have start assignments the week that they get assigned. I again did like 50% of this. Like with some assignments, I did start them the week they got assigned because I like wanted to get a head start. And then with other ones, it just got really crazy and I saved them for the last minute. So I guess this one is a fail. And then lastly, the last goal was to read 2 books, and I succeeded at this. I actually read 3 books. So honestly, I never really know where I'm at with my books and my reading because for September, I set my goal for 3 books and I read like 1.5. And then for October, I set it for 2 books and I read 3 full books and started reading a 4th. So goals are funky, y'all. I don't know. They're funky. But let's actually start making my goals for November. So we're just gonna go in right here and change this to November personal goals. So we're gonna keep most of the goals. We're gonna keep deep clean once a week. I think that is really important and something I need to remember to do. I am going to change 6 hours of screen time to 7 hours of screen time. Even though it's like I'm I'm increasing the amount of time on my phone, which might seem like counterintuitive. I think what it's gonna do is kind of like lessen the shame around not reaching this goal. For the last few months, like I have not been hitting this goal. Like this is, I think, the 3rd or 4th month in a row where I haven't met this goal. That can be really discouraging. So I think if I like move the finish line a little bit closer to where I am, and if I can like meet a little bit of like an easier goal, that'll be more encouraging to do it next time, like keep achieving that goal. Okay, and then I'm also gonna add some like other goals to kind of like help me achieve this less than 7 hours of screen time a day. I think what I want to do is make little like sub goals within this one goal. No phone in bed. That's a big one because I try really hard not to bring my phone into bed. I sleep with my phone charging over at my desk, so I can't reach it while I'm in bed. So I'm gonna make this no phone in or before bed, and hopefully that is going to help. And then to go along with that, I'm going to do journaling in the morning. So obviously I keep my bullet journal, you guys know that, but that's a little bit more of like a planner for me. When I'm doing journaling, I'm using an app called Finch that I love, but it's basically a self-care app and you can use it as a journal just to like jot down your notes. So I want to do some journaling in the morning rather than just getting straight to scrolling. This one is going to be enforce screen time limits. So I do have limits set up, believe it or not, even though my screen time is so high, I do have limits set up on certain apps on my phone, like especially social media, to help remind me like, hey, you spent a lot of time on this app today, like maybe there's a better use of your time. I'm going to try to actually follow those. Okay, then we're gonna go with workout 3 times a week. I'm gonna stick with that. I'm actually going to try to hit 3 times though. I'm already in the habit of going on Mondays and Wednesdays, so all I need to do is add Fridays onto that, and I think that's gonna be an attainable goal. Starting assignments the week they're assigned, I'm also gonna keep that as a goal, and I'm really gonna take this one seriously. Like I mentioned, I did start 2 more classes for the second half of the semester, so I'm taking 6 classes now. I'll tell you guys more about that in my next like college day or week in my life video, but I really need to stay on top of my game now, especially because I'm taking more classes. And then finally for reading, I'm gonna keep it at read 2 books just so there's no pressure, because I want reading to be fun and enjoyable and like something I do because I like doing it, not because I'm like trying to reach a goal. So we're gonna keep that at 2 books. And if I read more, great. If I read less, that's okay. I feel like 2 is a good number for me. So those are the goals for November. I think these are really attainable, but they're also going to push me to like maintain a routine and a lifestyle that I am like working towards building. Obviously, I'm a lifestyle vlogger and my lifestyle is very important to me. I like to feel like I'm in charge of my life. I want to be like making deliberate choices and deliberate decisions to like create the life that I want to live. And I think that these goals are gonna help me with that. So those are the goals. Let's move on to the books segment of this video. I'm so excited. I love this segment. All right, I switched up the angle because watching a video from the exact same angle the whole time is really boring, and it's really boring to edit. So we're chilling over here by my dresser. I'm sitting on my floor. I do love this room a lot, but there are limited filming options, so we're making the most. We're chilling on the floor right now. Anyway, it's time to go over the book segment of this video. It is my favorite segment of my reset vlogs. Okay, first we're gonna go over all the books that I read in October, and then we're gonna go over the books I wanna read in November. I read 3 books in October. I think for the first time on the vlog, all 3 of these books that I read were books that I like wanted to read, that were on my October book list. I feel like that's never happened before. But these are actually all like murder mysteries / thrillers, which I thought was perfect for spooky season for Halloween. So we'll go through them quickly. The first one that I read was The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. It was really interesting. I still don't really know how I feel about it. Here is the description on the back if you want to pause and like get a better idea of what it's all about. This though is a modern retelling of Jane Eyre, which I've never read, but this was really interesting. I haven't done my book reviews for any of these books yet. I'm actually really backed up on my book reviews, but I think I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5. The next book I read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and everyone said I would love this book. I did indeed love this book. It was so, so good. Here's the back cover if you want to pause and read what it's all about. This is one of the like top ranked YA murder mystery books out there, I'm pretty sure. For good reason. This book was excellent. I am going to give this 5 out of 5 stars when I do my book review. And then finally, the last book that I read in October was One of Us is Next by Karen M. McManus. This is the sequel to One of Us is Lying that I read, I think in July or August, can't remember. I read it over the summer though, and this is the sequel. Not quite as good as the original, I have to say. I'm probably gonna give this 3 stars. It didn't really grab me the same way that the first one did. Here is the little inside flap if you guys wanna pause and read what this one's about. But those were my 3 books from October. These also like really fueled my love of like mystery and thriller books. I think they're so interesting. I read like a lot of YA romance over the summer and kind of burned out on it. Like I'm kind of over it a little bit. So having like thrillers and mysteries that's so different than like YA romance and love stories, which I still love, but having something a little different was like really refreshing. I think that's one of the reasons that I just like kept reading them. But next we're gonna move on to the books I want to read in November. Right now we have 2 of them. Depending on how fast I get through these, I might add a 3rd book, but I don't know what that would be yet, so we're just gonna go with these 2 right now. Even though I was just bashing romance, the first book that I'm gonna read is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. You cannot throw a stone on TikTok without finding this book somewhere. It is so popular. It was really popular over the summer and I just never got around to it. Here's the back cover if you wanna pause and read all about it. And then the second book that I wanna read in November, I've been saving since like July. I've had this book for ages and I've been saving it for November because it just feels like a November read to me. It is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is another one that every person and their mom has told me I would love this book, that it's so good, that you have to read it. So I am finally getting around to reading this book and I'm really excited. Again, here is the little blurb description on the back if you guys want to know a little bit more what it's about. So these are my 2 books for November. I am so excited to read these. I will be updating you guys more like in real time on my Instagram how the reading is going, hopefully. I said I would do that last month and I didn't, but this month I'm actually gonna try to. As always, if you guys have any book recommendations or suggestions for books that I should read, leave them in the comments down below. I love hearing your book recs. But that is it for the book section. Next, we're gonna move on to another one of my favorite sections of these reset vlogs. We are going to talk about my bullet journal and set up some brand new spreads for November. I'm so excited. We're gonna be doing like my habit tracker, my content planner, and my weekly schedule like always. So let's go set up the bullet journal spreads. Okay, so you guys kind of already saw when we went over my goals, but I have a very specific layout that I do for my monthly spreads every month. And now it's time to do the spread for November. I pick a different color for every month. October was obviously orange, but I think November is going to be this brown color. I just associate it with fall and like Thanksgiving, and I don't know, November just feels like a brown color to me. We have a couple different spreads we're gonna make for November. First is going to be this habit tracker that I do every month. These track the 6 daily habits that we were talking about earlier. And then on the facing page is where we do my content planner. I think I am going to rework the design of this a little bit. I didn't love the design of this one in October. And something I did in October that ended up working really well that I want to do again in November is my like daily schedule, but filling it in as needed rather than having be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. and having like a bunch of dedicated pages. I just leave them blank and then fill them in when I need them and only when I need them. And you can see in October, I only ended up needing a to-do list in my bullet journal 4 days. So I'm just gonna do 1 page of these and I think that should be enough to capture all the things I need to do. And then I'm also going to make another YouTube milestone tracker. The one that I make for November is going to be the 5th one that I have in this bullet journal because you guys, the growth on this channel recently has been absolutely insane. I can't even keep up with it. Like, I haven't even filled in my 12K bubble yet because I like to fill them in on my Instagram stories, and I've just gotten so behind. But those are the spreads that I'm going to be making in my bullet journal. Really excited. I love bullet journaling. It's so relaxing and calming for me. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So let's get started. Let's make these spreads.
어렸던 내 맘을 Baby you Jump to your castle 내린 타이밍 이젠 빨리 흘러가겠지 그때가 그리.
Alright, the bullet journal spreads are done. These are the exact same design as all of the other monthly spreads I do in my bullet journal, so we're gonna just go through them super quick. Okay, first up, this is like the overview homepage. Like I mentioned, I did November in brown because it just feels like a brown month to me. Here we have the little mini calendars where I track my 6 main habits. And then down here I have a place to track all of the things that I'm obsessed with and that I'm really enjoying during the month. These are always really fun to look back at. Moving over here, we have my content planner. I did switch this up like a teeny tiny bit from the way I did it in October. So obviously we have the title up here and then I choose a new quote for every month. I don't like the way I formatted this, but there's not really anything I can do about it, so I don't really know what to put here. Maybe I'll find like some stickers or something. But either way, the quote I chose for this month is, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." So that is the little content planner. I also did another like weekly to-do list page that's just blank, so I can write in whatever day of the week I want. They don't necessarily have to go in order or like be consecutive days. And then finally, I made a new milestone page. This is by far the biggest milestone page that I have done. This is like the 5th edition of my milestone page. This goes all the way up to 18K. And I do like this page purely as a tracker, just to look back and see like at what points in the year I hit certain milestones, but it's not to like put a timeline on those milestones or anything like that. I'm just truly using it as a timeline tracker. So the only reason that it goes to 18K on this page as opposed to any other number is because that's how many bubbles I could fit on the page. But you guys really seem to enjoy when I post my bubble tracking on my Instagram stories. Like I've mentioned, I'm a little bit behind right now, but I generally try to fill these in, post it on my Instagram stories because I just think it's a fun little way to say thank you. So those are all the spreads that I've made so far for November. I want to make a couple more during the month, like book review spreads. I just haven't had a chance to get to them yet. It's been wild and crazy the last couple of weeks, but that is the bullet journal for now. Okay, now that we are done with the bullet journal, we are going to move on to the final segment of this video. We're going to be talking about my finances and my budget. So I'm gonna pull up my Notion finance tracker and we're gonna talk money for October and goals for November. Okay, so here we are in my Notion. I have this little pie chart which shows all the different categories that I spent money on in October. I'm not gonna be sharing the actual dollar amounts because I'm not comfortable with that yet. Maybe I will someday in the future, but for right now, we just have percentages. So I went through my finance tracker, which is part of my Notion template for free down in the description below if you guys are interested. So I went through and found out the percentage of my money that I spent on all of these different things in October, and we have them displayed right here. So my biggest category by far was clothes. I spent a lot of money on clothes in October. I don't normally spend that much money on clothes. This was a bit of a splurge month for me because we had some exciting things happen, like hitting 10K, so I wanted to get some new clothes for a photo shoot. So I would like to spend less money on clothes in November, but I think I will anyway. My next biggest spending chunk in October was groceries. I spent almost 15% of my money on groceries in October. That's to be expected though. I think there's not really much I can do to get around that. I need groceries to live. Something that I do think I can cut down on though is how much I eat out. I ate out a lot pretty much every day. I go like get lunch somewhere when I'm, you know, like during the school week, I'll go and like get a sandwich or something. So about 12.5% of my income was spent on like going to restaurants or eating out, either by myself or with friends. If I were to eat at home more, some of that percentage for eating out would just go to switch over to groceries. So some other big chunks were social outings and like going out with my friends. About 10% of the money I spent was on social outings and going out with my friends. And some of these categories like do overlap a little bit. So like an entry for eating out might also be categorized as like a social outing with friends. So that part is a little like, but I tried my best. Overall, I feel like this is pretty accurate to, you know, like what I spent my money on and what I feel like is important. Again, like clothes, I'll probably come down for November. I think that is a little bit obscene. I'll also probably try to eat out less. So honestly, I feel like this month I did pretty well. Again, I'm not sharing actual numbers, but like my income did exceed my expenses. So that's always really nice to know that I have some extra money that I can put away for savings, or if, you know, God forbid something happened where I needed like a little bit of a cushion, I have that. I don't really talk about income a lot, but I do, like, YouTube is my full-time job, so I do make money from YouTube. And then I also work part-time for one of my professors on her small business, so she also does pay us for that. So I do have money coming in. So honestly, clothes aside, I am pretty proud of my spending this month. I feel like this is probably a pretty standard like look at my spending for the month. So we have accomplished everything that we set out to do in this video, and that means that is gonna do it for this November reset vlog. I know I've already said this a couple times, but I do feel so refreshed and ready for a new month. I was just feeling like really out of sorts at the end of October, so I am really, really glad to be back on track. I'm really excited for November. I just feel it in my bones that it's gonna be a good month. I feel it, you know? I hope you guys all have an excellent November. I hope y'all had a happy Halloween. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it for me down below and comment your favorite segment of this video, because I feel like there are a lot of different segments and I'm interested to know what you guys enjoy the most. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you go subscribe to the channel down below. I would love to have you join the family. But that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.
I like to love you every day. I like to love you.